What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., and everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and daily news. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button right now. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date. And thank you so much for hitting the like button for us down below. You guys are awesome. All right, let's jump right in. We got a lot to talk about here today. President Biden says that he believes Russian President Putin has decided to attack Ukraine in the coming days. Remember that the Winter Olympics is going to end on February 20th. The initial thoughts from people around the world was that Putin might wait until after the Olympics. That is now in 2 days. And check this out.
Now, I'm happy to take a few questions. Nancy from Bloomberg.
Thank you so much, sir. Do you think that it is wise for President Zelensky to leave Ukraine if an invasion is as imminent as the U.S. says it is?
That's a judgment for him to make and a determination as to whether or not. I've spoken with Zelensky a dozen times, maybe more, I don't know. And it's in the pursuit of a diplomatic solution, it may not be it may be the wise choice, but it's his decision.
And do you have any indication about whether President Putin has made a decision on whether to invade? Do you feel confident that he hasn't made that decision already?
As of this moment, I'm convinced he's made the decision. We have reason to believe that.
There seems to be a unanimity of spirit between the United States and Europe to do some sanctions, a comprehensive sanctions, but is everyone on board with the exact same sanctions that you want to do?
Yes. There will be some slight differences, but there'll be more add-ons than subtractions.
And President Putin is going to oversee some nuclear drills this weekend. How do you see that happening? What's your reaction to that, sir? Thank you.
Well, I don't think he is remotely contemplating using nuclear weapons. But I do think I think he is focused on trying to convince the world that he has the ability to change the dynamics in Europe in a way that he cannot. But I don't. How much of it is a cover for just saying we're just doing exercises, and there's more than that? I just can't. It's hard to read his mind.
Mr. President, to be clear, you are convinced that President Putin is going to invade Ukraine. Is that what you just said a few moments ago?
Yes, I did. Yes.
So is diplomacy off the table then?
No. Until he does, diplomacy is always a possibility.
What reason do you have to believe he's considering that option at all?
We have a significant intelligence capability. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And President Biden says that he will be speaking with the other NATO countries in NATO amid the potential Russian invasion. And the U.S. says now, according to satellite imagery, because again, we can just literally see there now, via satellites, that Russia has increased their troops now potentially up to as much as 190,000 troops. So, I mean, again, if you're just looking at this from a realistic point of view, I consider myself a realist. If they're increasing their troops, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, it doesn't seem like they're just there to freeze there in the winter. I don't think they're there to play chess or play checkers. And they have Ukraine surrounded on 3 different sides of the border. I mean, you let me know your thoughts, but I mean, if you kind of just think it through, it almost seems like there's no other logical thing that is going to happen unless there's some sudden change of diplomacy I don't know. You let me know your thoughts. And the stock market seems to be reacting the same way. We've had several different down days here recently. The Dow down over 200 points yet again here today. If you're a long-term investor, might be a good time to buy. I think that if we see an invasion day here, we're going to see another couple painful days. But remember that if you're investing in a 401k on a weekly or biweekly basis, these are just good times to buy. Over the course of the long run here. You remember you want to buy low, sell high. So if you're investing here on a regular basis at your job, these are just good dips in the market to continue buying. But yeah, we're on a little bit of a dip here. The Dow's at 34,000, down 232 points today. The NASDAQ down twice as much. Remember, the NASDAQ is mostly tech companies like Facebook, Google, Apple. And we're just seeing a lot of anxiety in the markets today. Or not even just today, but recently because of the whole Russia incidents and because the Fed is going to start raising rates. So, kind of a double-edged sword there. But we are seeing a lot of states start to reduce their pandemic restrictions because of Omicron going down. The question is, do you think this is too early, and are we going to see another Omicron wave? Check this out.
We're now starting to see real fundamental changes to the way states and cities are handling the pandemic. Not only are local leaders ditching mask rules, some are also dropping vaccine requirements. Philly just lifted its vaccine mandate for indoor dining. King County, Washington, home to Seattle, plans to do the same next month. And New York State scrapped its strict mask or vax policy last week. At the same time, more companies are pushing forward with reopening plans. New York City Mayor Eric Adams encouraging more CEOs to bring the workers back to the office.
Now is the time for us to get back. And so I'm hoping within the next few weeks, the CEOs map out a real plan of this is when you need to come back. We can't send mixed messages. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. I cannot be any clearer. We need people back to work.
You tell them, Mr. Mayor. Right now, nearly every available metric shows this pandemic is going in the right direction in the United States. So is that it? I mean, was Omicron the last major surge? The experts tell us it's a nearly impossible question to answer, but we've now seen how quickly new variants can emerge and spread around the world, but this time is different. This time there's reason to be optimistic, according to a brand new report. Researchers estimate roughly 3/4 of all Americans now have some degree of immunity to Omicron. CBC's Meg Terrell covers science and medicine for us. Meg, break it down, the data, how promising.
Well, Sheb, it suggests that there's enough immunity that future surges could look different, and multiple experts I've run it by agree. The estimate comes from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation and was first reported today by the Associated Press. It takes into account all the people who've been vaccinated, boosted, and infected with any previous variant, not just Omicron. It also accounts for waning immunity from both vaccines and infections, according to epidemiologist Dr. Ali Moqtad. And this level of existing immunity suggests that future COVID waves should see less and less severe disease, meaning even if there are higher cases, there should be less of an impact on hospitals. And while this estimate is based on modeling, the CDC's own studies of antibodies from blood donors also support a high level of immunity in the population. CDC's most recent data suggests more than 90% of blood donors had antibodies from either vaccination or infection as of November. And that was before the Omicron wave even took off in the U.S. Of course, that's just blood donors, so not necessarily representative of the whole population. Still, even with these high levels of built-up immunity, that leaves millions of people still vulnerable, Dr. Moqtad tells us, either because they've never been vaccinated or infected, or because either one happened long enough ago, they've lost some immunity. So what does all this mean for future boosters? Well, a lot of that depends, of course, on variants, and if any emerge that can truly escape our immune protections. This week, the CEO of Moderna suggested only those at higher risk because of age or health conditions might need annual COVID shots. Of course, as long as nothing worse than Omicron emerges.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Now, remember that the new variant of Omicron, BA.2, the Omicron 2.0 is now the dominant variant in certain countries around the world, like South Africa. South Africa is important because that's where Omicron originated, a lot of experts think. And that is now 100% of the cases. Omicron 1.0, the original Omicron variant, which just obliterated the US here, doesn't even exist there in South Africa. The new version, BA.2, completely just overtook it. And some experts say that BA.2 is up to 150 times more contagious, 150%, I should say, 150% more contagious. So, yeah, so the question is this going to come to the US, and are we going to see another massive spike here yet again from BA.2, or if not BA.2, will there be another variant a month or 2 or 3 or 6 down the line? Yeah, let me know your thoughts. A new report shows just how badly people in the country continue to struggle during this pandemic. A new report shows that child poverty rose by 3.7 million people after the child tax credits expired last month here in January. Congress has not been able to pass the extended child tax credits. They expired in January, and those monthly payments of $250 to $300 per month did not go out here now in January and February to 60 million children. And originally, that had popped 40% of all children living in or 40% of all children out of poverty. And it had been a lifeline for tens of millions of children, just enough to put food on the table for many of them, a check every single month to help them out. And if families had 2 children or 3 children, it was quite a lot of money, sometimes $1,000 a month. And you could see how that could bring a family out of poverty, just enough to, really support the family. But now those monthly checks have stopped. And Democrats and even some Republicans are saying, well, what are we going to do? How do we get this passed? And yet, right now, January is gone. The February monthly child tax credits, which would have gone out on February 15th, has come and passed. 2 months have gone, and those checks did not go out. Yeah, it's really, really sad. It's kind of similar. I know it's different, but it would be something like if the Social Security checks didn't go out. Social Security goes out to about 60-some million seniors as well. Imagine if Congress didn't pass a bill and said, well, we can't fund it this month, and they didn't go out for 2 months. I know it's a little bit different. I get it, right? But I'm just kind of, trying to make an analogy here. And yeah, it's really, really sad here, especially because, a lot of all children can't work for themselves. I get that mom and dad can work for them, but you got to remember that not everybody's you can't put yourself in everybody's shoes. A lot of children are raised by their grandma and grandpas who are actually on Social Security or retired. A lot of parents or a lot of children have disabled parents. A lot of children themselves are disabled, live in poverty, live on food stamps. I mean, again, you can't put yourself or put, each child in a, picture perfect home where everything's perfect and everybody can just live a picturesque life where mom and dad can go to work and support themselves and everything's perfect, right? So it is really a sad situation that according to this new study, already 3.7 million children have fallen into child poverty. Child poverty is nothing, I mean, any type of poverty, of course, but just already here in a month and a half, really, really sad. Almost 4 million American children fell into poverty last month after the expanded child tax credits expired, according to a study released Thursday by the Center on Poverty and Social Policy at Columbia University. So I'd like to see these type of studies from, Columbia University, because it's not a partisan, it's not like done from the Democratic National Convention or the Republican whatever, right? It's literally done by Columbia University, right? So it's pretty credible. The lapse of monthly child tax credit payments in January pushed 3.7 million children below the poverty line, according to federal data analyzed by Columbia researchers. The child poverty rate rose from 12.1% in December to 17% in January, an increase of 41%. While in place, the monthly child tax credit payments buffered family finances amidst the continuing pandemic, increased families' abilities to meet their basic needs, reduced child poverty and food insufficiency, and had no discernible negative effects on parental employment. Wow. The authors of the study wrote. More than 36 million households, covering 61 million children, received the expanded CTC payments from July through December this year. While Biden and the Democrats tried to extend the CTC payments, it lapsed after Senator Joe Manchin slammed the brakes on the president's Build Back Better social services and climate plan. Manchin said last month he would be open to renewing the expanded child tax credit payments with lower income limits and reimposing work requirements, two major issues for many other Democratic lawmakers. So again, Joe Manchin says he would be open to this with some negotiation points. He's also expressed concerns about Congress stoking inflation. And remember, he said if the package can reduce the national deficit, he'd be willing to pass it. And we talked about that, how they can do that here in the last episode. But his progressive critics argue the expanded CTC is essential to helping struggling families handle higher prices. Yeah, see, the thing is that right now with inflation surging, you have to help the people, right? You have all these people, children, seniors on fixed income, on disability, on Social Security, people in the middle on low income. 63% of people are living paycheck to paycheck or behind on their bills. You have to help them right now. Inflation is hurting everybody, and there's $800 billion of stimulus money that's already approved and just sitting there. They can use this money because it's already been appropriated. It's already been added to the debt per se, and it's already been allocated, right? It's from stimulus package 1, 2, and 3. They can use that money in different ways, like sending half of it out to middle low income as a stimulus checks, and it wouldn't add to the debt or inflation. Okay, it's already been appropriated. It's already been allocated. Okay. And they can continue to increase SNAP benefits, pandemic EBT benefits. They could do things like when they raise Social Security benefits with the cost of living adjustment, not reduce food assistance, not reduce SNAP benefits. All those little things add up, right? The problem is when you increase Social Security benefits and then you reduce seniors' food assistance. That's very, very counterproductive. That's like a slap in the face to seniors, right? You can't give them a 5.9% cost of living adjustment and then reduce their SNAP benefits, reduce their food assistance benefits. That's such a terrible thing to do. That's why I've been pushing Congress and tweeting Congress to, we got to get a bill this year done to get rid of that, or increase the SNAP benefits. That has to go up as well with inflation so that doesn't happen. Because every year, almost every year, there's a few years where there's no cost of living adjustment. When inflation is at zero, that's not going to be happening this year. But when inflation goes up and seniors get a cost of living adjustment, you can't have people on Social Security and disability and all these different programs. You can't have them getting their food assistance reduced. That needs to change. We need to keep emailing our senators and representatives, tweeting them, calling them, emailing them. We need to get a bill in Congress, and Bernie Sanders, we need to get them behind this so that it's changed. We can't have people on food assistance getting their benefits reduced because of inflation and a cost of living adjustment. That's just absolutely crazy. So there's a lot of things that need to be changed, and this is how things get done. We have, I'm here as a voice for you guys in the community, talking to millions of people here on a monthly basis, and putting the word out to Congress. I'm emailing them, tweeting them for you guys. I'm talking. I've had members of Congress reach out to me as well that have watched my channel. I see your guys' comments here every single day, and I read through them every single day. And we got to continue to push Congress for all these different things here, all these different I mean, there's so many different people in need right now during this pandemic, and any type of support we get for the people, whether it's student loan debt cancellation, whether it's SNAP benefits, whether it's stimulus checks, whether it's rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, no matter what it is, right? Any type of stimulus type of program that help the people, great. Let's help as many people as possible, right? And let's continue to get more and more people helped during this pandemic. If you watched my video from earlier, we had that poor guy who had, it was $125,000 in student loan debt. He hadn't been paying on it for 5 years, like $1,000 a month. He had paid $60,000 in student loan debt for 5 years, and had only paid $2,000 in principal. That's just absolutely sad. Absolutely sad. So there's just a lot of different problems going on right now that Congress needs to rework or figure out and work on. All sorts of different groups of people that are struggling right now. So I will keep you up to date here with everything. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times, and subscribing is completely free to do so. So make sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss out on new videos, and help us reach 400,000 subscribers. We're at like 399,000 almost. So help us reach 400,000. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe right now, and I will keep you up to date here with everything. You can click here next to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to watch my video on how adults could get monthly checks here in the future as well, like the child monthly checks. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.